Why are so many homes going back on the market after they've been under contract and fallen apart? So my name's Ed Huck with Keller Williams Realty, and we're going to dive into that in your December 2025 real estate market update. So what is going on? So we're going to dive into rates first. So rates right now have actually still been hovering around that low 6% mark. They've been there for a long time. They've been tiny ticking up a little bit, and meaning an eighth of a point or eighth of a percent. And even though everybody's hearing all this Fed rate cut, believe it or not, that last week when the Fed lowered the rate, the mortgage rates actually ticked up a little bit. Nothing significant, but just keep in mind, mortgage rates aren't tied to the primary Fed rate that you hear about in the news all the time. Talk to your lender or your favorite realtor about what's really going on with the rates. So new listings. So the number of new listings that are year to date versus last year to date, it's up 3.6%. The number of homes for sale is actually up 15%. So the numbers of homes available to go buy today, there's a lot more available this year to date versus last year to date. We're still in a little bit of a strong seller's market, which we're going to dive into. So don't freak out when you see that number. The number of homes pending, that's also up, but not a lot. It's only up 2.4% this year to date versus last year to date. The number of transfers is about flat, which is making more homes available, right? So if we're continuing to add new listings, all those new listings aren't getting gobbled up and sold. Our number of available homes to sell is going to slowly start to rise. So, but we're busy. This should say busy in November. I apologize for that. So this is November's deck here. But anyway, if you were to look at November of 25 versus November of 24, more homes went under contract in November of 25 than they did in 2024. And then if you look all the way back to even 2023, there was 9% more homes went under contract in November, 23 versus 25. So November was a really busy month for us. And then when you look at December, so this December month to date versus last December month to date, so that middle column there's almost 20% more homes went under contract in the first 15 days of this December versus the last December. So we'll dive into more what that means to you if you have your house for sale at the end. Average sale price up about 7%. The rolling 12-month average sale price is up about 7.8%. One thing I have been noticing is consistently that number is coming down. It used to be way higher than a couple of years ago. It was double digits. But even when I ran the stats for this new slide deck, it was like 7.4%. Now it's 7%. So things are finally starting to kind of calm down on our local appreciation rates. Days on market, it's up. But if you really look into that, it says up 5.6%. It's really, though, only 2 days. So we're on average is taking about 41 days to put a house under contract. So which is still really fast. Month's worth of inventory. What that means for us realtors and for those of you that have been following along is how long does it take for our current inventory to get sold off? And right now it's taking about 1.6 months for our inventory to go under contract and get transferred. In realtor speak, anything under 3 months worth of inventory is a strong seller's market. So even though things are starting to slide up, right, and we're headed back towards that 3, we still have a long way to go. So everything we continue to read, all the publications I dive into, continues to say Northeastern Ohio is going to stay a seller's market for the near future. And when I say that, it's at least through 26, maybe even through 27. And stay tuned to other updated videos. We'll go into in-depth of the whys behind that. But so what's going on for sellers? So if your home is not going under contract, it's a problem because as I showed you earlier, we have a lot of homes that have been going under contract. Make sure you talk with your agent to figure out what is the strategy that needs to be happening as what's holding your house back from going under contract. Again, it's still a strong seller's market, but don't get too aggressive. So it's not like you price like we were pricing back in 22 and even 23, where you were kind of pricing way ahead of where the market was headed. That strategy does not work anymore. And this BOMK, what that stands for is back on market in our realtor MLS. That's the acronym that we use. But we have noticed in August, September, October, a large number of homes coming back on the market. So they went off the market, they had their home inspection, or they did an appraisal and something happened and now they're back on the market. That's ticked way up. That national stat used to be closer to might be like 10%. I can tell you that Ed Huck team listings are nowhere near that stat. We make sure we mitigate all the risk for our sellers by prepping the home properly. But what we're seeing is a lot of buyers paying top dollar for these houses, wanting it perfect. And then they get in there and just like anything, these houses, especially 10, 20, 30, 40-year-old house, they're not perfect. And they were finding issues with them and they're going back in the market because the buyer and the seller can't come to terms on how those issues are going to be fixed. So, and we're seeing a huge uptick in the number of appraisals coming in what we would call short. So somebody wrote an offer and said, I'm going to give you $450,000 for your house. The appraisal comes back at $430,000. Now we're $20,000 short, and we need to figure out how we're going to make up that difference. So we're seeing more and more of that happen. Buyers. So what's going on with buyers? So buyers rates are again still in that low 6% rate. Everything again out here and Reed talks about we should hit the 5s, maybe even mid 5s sometime next year. That does not mean wait though. If you were to go plug into a mortgage calculator, what a difference of 0.5% makes in your mortgage over the course of a month, it's not that big of a number. So if you see the perfect house, it still makes sense to pull the trigger now, even if maybe you could get 0.5% better rate in 4 or 5, 6 months. There's a couple other reasons for that. Rents are still appreciating. So even though you're waiting, your rents are going to be going up. There's a great calculator on realtor.com. They'll walk you through all the different scenarios if you're really data hungry, or just give one of our Ed Huck team realtors a call and we'll help walk you through all that. And again, home prices are still rising, and don't be shocked if you're a buyer and you lose out on a multiple offer. So it's still happening, especially for the houses that are prepped right, show fantastic, priced properly. We're still seeing some multiple offers, not like we were seeing in years past where, houses were getting 10, 15, 20 offers. But we are still seeing homes sell up with 2, 3 offers. So if you have any questions, always feel free to reach out. We're here for you. We'd love to answer all your questions. We have all the data. We really dig into this. This is Northeastern Ohio data. Each market is different. Each city is different. And each subdivision is different. So we can pull this all up for your specific home. So hope everybody has a wonderful holiday and a fantastic new year. And I'll see everybody in January.